welcome to the Lead Like a Girl podcast. I am sitting in Rondebosch today with Babalwa Latsha, who's joining us today on the podcast. It's so good to be here in what is a very chilly Cape Town. I know you've just come back from the UK, but really, what is going on with this weather?
It's insane. It's almost as if I brought back British weather to South Africa.
Please no, send it back. But you can stay. It's really good to have you here, and it's great to be having the discussion. We've been talking with a group of women who actually we really admire. There's something unique in the way that they are leading like a girl. And so I just want to get into this conversation and hear you out on what the journey's been like for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the Lead Like a Girl community.
Oh, my name is Babalwa Latsha. I'm a professional women's rugby player. The first, actually, on the whole continent. I'm from Khayelitsha. Very humble beginnings, but equally just as ambitious and have big dreams and all of that. And yeah, I'm a proud member of the Springbok women's team and a former Harlequins prop. But outside of that, very proud ambassador of the Beast Foundation and director of the Ministration Foundation.
Yeah, we love that. Yes, I actually remember meeting you in Johannesburg at the launch of the Beast Foundation. It does make me giggle a little bit, the similarities between you and Tendai. I think there's a similarity in character. I have never seen anyone so fierce on the field. You carry a lot of strength and energy and focus when you're in the game. But I think both of you are teddy bears. What is with this? What is the softness? Explain this to me. How do those two things live in one person?
That is true. Actually, you're 100% right. I'm such a teddy bear. It's like I'm a different person on the field. And I think being able to switch that on and off is an amazing feeling for me. It's a celebration of my physical prowess and my power and strength and warrior spirit and lion and all of that. But, also it's an equal celebration or, acknowledgement of the fact that I can be just about anything that I please. And I feel good about that. I love being a teddy bear.
You gentle, soft people. I'm not a teddy bear. I'd like to be. I'd like to be, but I'm not. So you said something really quickly, and I think it bears just explaining. I know you've got a law degree from the University of the Western Cape. I found out today you 2 high schools, hey?
Yes.
2 completely different experiences. We might get into that later because it's a good story. But professional rugby player, signed, contracted, playing for a club in another nation. How did that happen? What is this journey like? Give us a little bit of the arc. In summary, of course.
Of course. Well, the very first time that it happened was back in 2021, when I first signed with a Spanish club overseas. Yeah. That was when my real professional career started. Yeah. Got the contract, signed on the dotted line, got onto that plane and left, not quite having an idea of what it meant to be a professional women's rugby player. Yeah. I had to figure that out by myself. What does that mean? How do I show up as a professional? This is now my full-time job. What does that mean? So the very first time that I went was a very sort of developmental journey, and I think that set me up to be able to do quite well in the English Premiership, which is I think one of the best, no, not one of the best, the best league in the world. Now there it was full on, we competed against the best in the world week in, week out, and that gave me confidence to say that I too am a professional. Yeah. I offer value to this club, and dare I even say that I too can count myself as some of the best because I got to compete against some of the best. And so that's the general trajectory of how I got into the professional women's rugby space.
Yeah, and it comes off the tongue easily. The first professional signed contracts, international. But you were speaking earlier, and you were talking about how undefined that path is. It's developmental. What were some of the things you were defining and doing for the first time in that journey?
Very primitively, was just leaving home. As basic as that.
Yeah.
I did that for the first time.
To Spain is a long journey.
It's a big jump. It's a long jump. or a long journey, then understanding, the performance aspect of it, things like nutrition, and what my body requires. That too was a learning curve for me, as well. But more than anything, it was a realization that, hey, I had a dream and it came true. So it then instilled that in me, that where I come from doesn't define or determine where I go. And so I tapped into that with all of my heart, and I leaned into that, and I've decided to be that positive point of reference, to say that because you come from nothing doesn't mean you are nothing, and you'll end up nothing. I can easily come from Kailicha, from abject poverty to the world, to England, to Spain.
It's amazing. And I think what stands out for me as we have these conversations with people who've pioneered, shaped the journey for themselves, is that you've thought about others and positioned yourself so that others can follow and others can have a blueprint. Babal, I think it's so critical, and it's a feature that I'm hearing in so many of the leaders that we're speaking to, is that they're establishing new standards that come with their own talent, that come with who they are, but they never forget the team, they never forget the community and others that are going to walk the same route. I think it is incredibly powerful in the way that you lead and in the way that you show up. And I think it's why we're having this conversation with you today, because we're just seeing the impact of that, with young athletes and young women around the world, realizing that the stronger the community, the stronger my leader is at being able to do that, the better my chances are of growing. And the fact that it's just authentically you. It's not coming from a place where it has to be practiced or you have to be reminded, Babalwa, there's others who are going to want to walk this journey. Can you please play well or show up as your best self, or, really kind of put South African rugby on the map? You've gone and done that without that needing to be said. I think that's amazing. I really do.
Thank you.
So you were talking about how you lead yourself and how you lead others, and you mentioned vulnerability. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you kind of came to discover that one as important in leadership, and I think you called it a superpower, part of who you were.
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
I believe that vulnerability is such an important and powerful thing, because we're humans at the end of the day, and if you bring that into the room, you bring yourself, you bring your truest self. There's something so pure about being vulnerable, and it just allows so much room for others to feel validated, for them to feel like they belong, even liberated as well, to say that, hey, actually, it's okay for me to be this way, or it's okay to feel like this, it's okay to talk about how I'm feeling. It's not a sign of weakness, or if anything, it's strength. It means that you're able to acknowledge, and face difficult situations, head on. And I cannot stress enough how important that is, because that then allows you to recognize when something's wrong, not just with you, but with the rooms that you step in, the people that you work with, the community that you're in and around, and then you can then make a difference if you feel you can.
I love that. We mentioned a little sister, and I just loved the way you spoke about her earlier. But I think it was just this realization of different generations and of different ways of how we look at showing up. There are young women who will watch you and will say, well, I'm never going to play rugby, so that can't be my life. Is your sister working out to be a professional rugby player? Tell us about her.
Well, maybe not. My sister she's an amazing young person. She has the softest heart. She's very nurturing, and her spirit is just so warm and so welcoming, and I love that about her. And I have a big responsibility for her to help her, at least understand that her journey is hers, to embrace and to walk and to lean into. I'll always be there for her whenever she needs me to be, but she doesn't have to play rugby because I do. She doesn't have to aspire to be a professional women's rugby player like I am. If that is what she wants to do, fantastic. But if not, I need for her to be her own woman, which she is. And there's so much power in that. You know, I think she understands, or at least I try to help her understand that the world is her oyster.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much for her out there.
Yeah.
Which is so important for me to continue to be a positive role model, not just for her, but for many other young people. Also to stress that your journey is yours. Lean in, embrace it. You know, yes, of course, we draw inspiration from various life stories, but your journey is yours.
Yeah, I love that. And I love, like, even with sibling dynamics, often you find it's competitive. One person is feeling left behind, the other is not feeling connected. And it was what you said about letting her light shine. Does not dim yours in any way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And she brings something incredibly unique in who she is. I mean, I'd love to meet her. Just the way you speak about her and kind of what she brings to the table is special. And how you support and work with her. I thought that was just really beautiful.